For many years, the name Marc Marquez has been synonymous with victory, courage, and limitless ambition. However, after the Italian Grand Prix at Mugello, the MotoGP world heard something very different from the 8-time world champion. For the first time, Marquez made a statement that surprised many fans and raised concerns about his future. Many observers believe this was the most honest admission Marquez has made since a series of serious injuries began to impact his career over the past few years. What is Marc Marquez really feeling behind these surprising comments? Let's discuss. In his post-race interview at Mugello, Marquez revealed that his return to the track is no longer solely about chasing another world championship. According to him, as long as he continues to receive medical clearance, he wants to keep racing and enjoy the opportunity to ride a MotoGP bike. On the surface, the statement sounds simple, but it carries a much deeper meaning. Throughout his career, Marc Marquez has been known as a rider who arrived at every race weekend with one goal in mind: winning. Even when the devastating right-arm injury that ended his dominance in 2020 threatened to derail his career, Marquez fought relentlessly to return to the highest level of competition. He underwent surgery after surgery, endured lengthy rehabilitation periods, and repeatedly pushed himself to come back despite suffering numerous setbacks. But now, his tone has changed. Instead of talking about championship battles or race victories, Marquez is focusing more on how to extend and preserve his MotoGP career. The Italian Grand Prix at Mugello proved to be an extremely demanding test for Marquez. The legendary circuit is widely regarded as one of the most physically challenging tracks on the MotoGP calendar. Its high-speed layout, aggressive direction changes, and heavy strain on the arms make it difficult for riders to maintain peak performance throughout the race. The problem is that the area under the greatest stress at Mugello is currently Marquez's weakest physical point. After undergoing radial nerve surgery and several other medical procedures, Marquez's physical condition is still not fully recovered. He continues to adapt to limitations he never experienced during the peak years of his career. In reality, Marquez had a safer option available. He could have skipped the Italian Grand Prix and waited for a track considered more suitable for his physical condition. But, as he has demonstrated countless times throughout his career, Marquez chose to race anyway. That decision reflects the fighting spirit that still remains deeply rooted within him. At the beginning of the Mugello weekend, Marquez showed encouraging signs. He looked competitive and was able to challenge the other Ducati riders. In several sessions, his pace appeared promising enough to raise hopes that he could deliver a surprise result. However, the issue that has troubled him for some time resurfaced as the race entered its closing stages. As physical fatigue began to set in, Marquez's performance gradually declined. He admitted that his body was no longer responding the way he wanted it to. Controlling the bike became more difficult, and his pace started to drop compared to rivals who remained in peak physical condition. In modern MotoGP, losing even a small amount of physical strength can cost a rider several tenths of a second per lap. In such a fiercely competitive environment, that difference can mean the gap between fighting for a podium and simply finishing outside the top 5. What makes the situation even more challenging is the fact that Marquez is no longer battling only his rivals on the racetrack. He is also battling his own body. The 2026 championship standings are not working in Marquez's favour either. After the Italian Grand Prix, the gap to the championship leader grew even larger. With a significant points deficit and a physical condition that has yet to fully recover, his chances of rejoining the title fight are becoming increasingly slim. That is why many people believe Marquez's statement was far more than just an ordinary comment. It could be interpreted as an admission that he now has to accept a new reality. His main focus is no longer on becoming world champion, but rather on making sure he can continue competing and enjoying racing without pushing his body beyond its limits. For fans who have long hoped to see the very best version of Marc Marquez again, that reality is certainly difficult to accept. The aggressive rider who once attacked without fear, pulled off spectacular overtakes, and dominated race after race, is now beginning to evolve into a rider who takes a more realistic view of his own capabilities. While Marc Marquez continues working to regain his best physical condition, many of his rivals are enjoying remarkable momentum throughout the 2026 season. The most prominent name is undoubtedly Marco Bezzecchi. The Aprilia rider has emerged as the most consistent competitor this year. His major victory at Mugello further strengthened his position at the top of the championship standings and reinforced his status as the leading contender for the 2026 world title. Aprilia even managed to defeat Ducati on its home turf, something that would have been difficult to imagine just a few years ago. Behind Bezzecchi is his teammate, Jorge Martin, who continues to apply pressure. After enduring a difficult period due to injury last season, Martin has successfully bounced back and once again become one of the fastest riders on the grid. His crucial victory at the French Grand Prix proved that he has lost neither his aggression nor his confidence in the battle for the World Championship. The next threat comes from an increasingly mature young talent, Pedro Acosta. The KTM rider continues to demonstrate extraordinary progress. Even though his motorcycle is not considered as competitive as the Aprilia or Ducati, Acosta has consistently fought at the front and has become one of the most feared riders among his rivals. Many analysts even believe that Acosta represents the future of MotoGP, if KTM can provide him with a more competitive machine. Another major surprise has come from Fabio Di Giannantonio. The VR46 rider has been far more consistent than in previous seasons. In several races, Di Giannantonio has even emerged as the best-performing Ducati rider when the factory riders struggle to find their maximum pace. His position near the top of the standings shows that he is no longer just a dark horse. In addition, riders such as Ayogura and Raul Fernandez have begun attracting significant attention. Ogura has delivered impressive performances with Trackhouse Aprilia and has frequently been involved in battles for the leading positions, while Raul Fernandez secured his first sprint race victory at Mugello. These results demonstrate that Aprilia's strength is no longer dependent on just one or two riders. Even so, completely writing off Marc Marquez would not be a wise move. Throughout his career, Marquez has repeatedly silenced critics and doubters. He has recovered from injuries that many believed would end his career, returned to competition after multiple surgeries, and remained competitive when countless people had already removed him from the list of championship contenders. That champion's mentality is still there. That is why so many fans continue to believe that Marquez still has one major surprise left in him. Perhaps his chances of winning the 2026 World Championship are extremely slim. But as long as Marquez is still on a motorcycle and still has the desire to fight, no one is willing to completely rule him out. The question is no longer whether he can win the way he once did. The real question is, does Marc Marquez still have one final great comeback left that could once again shock the MotoGP world? Share your thoughts in the comments below